we're gonna try this anyway. The microphone settings are still messed up. I'm in the process of getting a new one, so this is just gonna have to do for now. There's not a whole lot I can change. Let me switch one thing here. We're gonna go back to the game. We're going to get this going here, just in case we need it. And we're just going to make the best we can do with today's stream. We're right after reset. Today's agenda, I just wanted to do a quick stream today. I wanted to go over Nemesis and do a guide on her, how to use her abilities, etc. We're going to record it here. I am dubious as to whether this is going to work because of the microphone issues, but we'll try. And then if we get done with that, we'll do some dailies real quick, and then also head on over to the limited events. I might do some of the bosses. I'll try and use her in the teams, and that way you can kind of see how she's utilized in some of the battles. But so let's get started talking about Nemesis. Nemesis is one of the free-to-play units that you get when you start the game. She is a DPS powerhouse if you use her correctly, and she can easily carry you through early parts of the game, and until later content too. Eventually, you can get a better main target DPS, but she does a great job if you're kind of struggling and you don't know what units to use. She is a great, fantastic pick. Highly recommend. So we're gonna talk about her skills, how they work, like kind of how they mesh together. Then we'll go over her fortifications, her neural helixes and keys, fixed keys. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about weapons and gear for her. There's not really a whole ton to talk about, but we'll go over that briefly. And then we'll do some examples with her. We'll use her in some battles that I have kind of lined up so that I can show you just kind of like real world quotations. Um, Real world examples of like how to use her. So she's a sniper character. So she's ideally a single target damage dealer, but because of her talent, her passive, she's actually really good with dealing with up to about 3 targets at a time. And we'll talk about that right now. We'll just go through her abilities. We'll start with her passive here. This is her like kind of like defining one. Essentially, what this does is when you start your turn, she's going to mark 2 enemies with Prophecy of Morning. You'll see a little debuff above their head. And if you shoot those enemies with any of your teammates, single target skills, not AoE skills, she will do a follow-up attack on them for a chunk of damage. Um, she'll get she will get confectance points for doing that, and she'll also get a self buff. But we'll talk about all that in a second. Essentially, all you need to know is that when she's marking people, she's essentially getting free shots if you attack those with different units. So this is kind of like what's going to tie all her abilities together, because if you utilize this correctly, you'll see a lot of abilities refer to Prophecy of Morning. Um, and if you utilize this correctly, you can pump out big damage. So the 2 closest targets are going to get marked. They don't have to be in line of sight. Um, and when she does this, she'll do a follow-up attack. So first ability here is always just the basic attack, nothing special. We'll skip that. Her second ability, or her first skill, I should say, is Enlightened Star. This one is pretty much how you're going to open up all the battles. This is going to be like the skill you use right off the bat. Essentially, you walk up to a piece of cover, and as long as you're touching that piece of cover, you're going to get a damage bonus with this skill, and you're going to get a bunch of confectance points when you use it. So you don't have to have the cover between you and your target. So if the enemy is behind you, for example, as long as you're touching the piece of cover, you will get the bonuses. So you just want to be in cover or touching cover to use this skill. And then there's a 2-turn cooldown on it that you can't spam it. But as we'll go over, you're actually going to be using your alt most of the time anyway. So this is just kind of be how you start the battle off to just build up your confectance. We'll skip this last part. Some of these are fortifications. I have a couple of her fortifications, which is why they're showing up here. But you can ignore this last line for now. Her second skill is Penetrating Casket. Again, this one you're not going to use very often, but it applies a big defense down debuff to the enemy. So maybe if you wanted to proc abilities that have to do with defense down, or maybe you just wanted to damage amp the rest of the characters on your team. You won't use this ability very much because she has other ways to apply this debuff. So this one's kind of just like a you have nothing better to do, you can use it. Then that brings us to her alt. Her alt is Stellar Pursuit. This one hits like a truck. It's 170% base, and then you're going to get a 10% bonus for every confectance point after that. So if you're at full confectance, if you're at 6 confectance and you use this, you're essentially hitting for 200% corrosion damage. And then it's going to get even more buffs from fortifications and other stuff. It costs 3 confectance, and that is deducted before the damage goes through. So like I said, if you're at 6, you'll be -3, so you only get a 30% damage boost. So essentially what's going to happen is all of her abilities utilize Prophecy of Morning. You're going to want to use Stellar Pursuit and Enlightened Star on single target enemies kind of further in the back, and then you're going to want to use the Remote Observation, the Prophecy of Morning here, to hit targets that are not, quote, your primary target. And this allows her to attack multiple times in a turn. So essentially by utilizing this, you're going from doing one attack with your skills and or ultimate to potentially 3 attacks a turn, because one skill slash ultimate a turn and then 2 follow-up attacks from remote observation. This gets compounded when you start looking at her fortifications. So you'll probably get a bunch of these just by rolling on. If you rolled on the Uldred banner, you'll probably have a ton of these. But if you just rolled on any character, she's in the general pool, you'll get a bunch of these. None of these are too game changing except her first and her sixth one. The rest of these kind of just do damage. But the first one makes the Prophecy of Morning last 2 turns instead of 1. Why this is important? This is important is because for some reason you can't utilize those Prophecy of Mornings on the turn that they're put out there. Let's say they're on the wrong side of a wall, for example. Uh, you can then move away from them. Now you're close to 2 new enemies. You'll put Prophecy of Morning on them next turn, and you can still have the Prophecy of Morning on your original target. So essentially, if you go around and you don't shoot anybody, and then you move around, you could essentially have 4 of these floating around. Every time you use one of these marks up, you're going to get 2 confectance points, and you're going to do. It doesn't say here. I'm not sure why it doesn't say. It's probably. I must have skipped it somewhere. But essentially, when you use her, when she is it in here? I'm sorry, it's in the description for Prophecy of Morning. So when you actually trigger Prophecy of Morning, she's going to get 2 confectance points. So she can essentially stockpile confectance points if there's ads, and a lot of the bosses do summon like small little ads, so you actually get pretty good value out of this. In addition, she gets the insight buff, which extends the range of your alt initially, but it also has other benefits later on. So back to fortification. The first one's really good because it essentially allows you to have more Prophecy of Morning stacks just floating around the battlefield. Um, this one is it's whatever for her. It's specifically for her second ability. Don't get this confused with just like a general damage increase. This only works on her second ability. Um, you'll get a 10% damage increase. It's good. It's not. It's good for bosses. This one, her third ability, Penetrating Casket, her second skill, Penetrating Casket. Same thing. You're gonna get another confectance point because this applies the damage or the defense down debuff. So you're gonna get a confectance point just for using the skill. Once again, not needed. You're probably gonna generate them so fast, and you'll see when we take her for a spin. You'll see that you generate confectance points pretty quick. You probably will never use this skill. This one's pretty solid, remote observation, but it's just a general damage increase. Essentially, while you're under the effects of insight, which is the buff you get for using her follow-up attack, you're going to do 10% more damage. And specifically, this 10% damage applies to the follow-up attack itself, not her other skills. I said, not that great. It's just a small damage increase on the follow-up attacks. Uh, Same thing here. Once again, if you're under the effects of insight, you're going to get another 10% damage boost. This one affects her alt specifically, so you can essentially start at 180. Not anything special, but more damage is always appreciated. Her last one here actually does something interesting. For her alt, they're gonna get. I'm sorry, she will get a 20% crit rate for every debuff on the target. Now, as you'll see in a second, she actually applies debuffs with some of her fixed keys. So at the very least, you're going to get a 20% crit rate from just yourself. And then almost every team has somebody who applies debuffs. I mean, even if it's something simple like Groza shooting a heavy suppression and doing movement down, right? That's a debuff. So that's another 20% crit. So she can have easily a 100% chance to crit the target with decent gear. But do keep in mind, this is only for her alt, once again. Her follow-up attacks and her other skills will not get this 20% crit. But, you know, her alt is her hardest hitting attack, and you're going to want to use it as much as possible. So this is a very good fortification to have. So let's look at the neurohelixes next. The main line here is always just a stat boost for the character, health and attack usually. And then we get into the keys. The keys for her are pretty straightforward. They almost all either just give you more damage. There's only one that really changes what she does, and we'll get into that. But this one here, like I said, this is kind of the interesting one. When you hit a target that is marked by her Prophecy of Morning, she will apply that defense down before the attack is launched. So she will get the benefit of anything that says, like, if the target is affected by a damage debuff, or a defense debuff, she'll get a confectus points. Like, for example, I believe it was this one here, penetrating casting. So for example, she would generate this on herself. Um, but yeah, 30% damage or defense. I keep saying damage. 30% defense reduction is a nice chunk to help, because it'll stay for the rest of the turn, right? That's the other thing, is not only is it going to affect her attack, it's going to affect everybody else on the team. So this is really good for bosses, and you'll see why. Because in a boss scenario, you're going to want to have her act first. This one, her changing fortune fixed key here is, it's nice because it allows, so insight by default only ever gives your ultimate skill one range, which is the primary ability you're going to be using. But now it extends to her other two skills. It's a nice bonus. It allows her to outrange a lot of things. Uh, you can position her in very safe spots just because she's going to outrange most of the enemies. But there are other options you can use for this fixed key, because you're only allowed to have 3 fixed keys, which are these left 3, and 3 common keys, which are the right 3. But we're going to talk about these left 3 first, because these are the ones that actually have impact on her gameplay. This next one, Fortune's Call, this one's not very important. It just reduces AoE damage taken. She's, like I said, you can outrange most of it. You probably won't use much of this fixed key. This key, however, is pretty strong. Fixed key Silent Catastrophe. If you're killing targets, which hopefully you will be, like I said, she puts Prophecy of Morning on 2 different targets. Hopefully one of those is like an ad the boss summons, or just like a relatively weak guy that just is like in range and close to you. She'll get a big buff. She'll give herself attack 10%, and she'll give herself damage 10% if she kills that target. Um, this also works. Um, this works 2 ways. Either she can kill them with her skill and get it as long as they're marked, or if she does the follow-up attack from the Prophecy of Morning, she'll get it. So we'll talk about that when we use her more. Um, this is the other fixed key. I'm not high enough level. I can't actually unlock these yet, but this is the other fixed key that she can use. This one you can swap with Changing Fortune. If you don't actually need the extra 1 tile range, which you don't always, it's pretty situational. Fated Calamity is a good one to sub for it. This one will essentially let you just use your alt nonstop if you're killing Prophecy of Morning targets, and using a follow-up attack every turn, which, like I said, should not be too hard to do in a well-managed team. Um, this one, not it's a very situational. Same thing with like the AOE defense one here with Fortune's Call. This one prevents you focus gaze or prevents you from being moved around the battlefield, pulled out of cover, etc. It, it's not going to see a lot of use because most of the time you're going to be so far back. Like I said, you're just going to outrange a lot of the dangerous stuff. But there are certain bosses and certain situations where you might want to sub it in which case I would replace like Fated Calamity slash Changing Fortune. You almost always want to have Potent Curse and Silent Catastrophe, unless you're just, you know, there's no ads to kill or anything like that, which is unusual. This one is actually the most interesting one. This is one of the three common keys. So they sit on the right side here. So her common key here, Blessing of the Morning Star, is interesting. So if she's under the effects of Insight, which she should always be, because you're always going to get to do at least one follow-up attack. For example, if you're fighting a boss, there's at least going to be the boss in the room, and you're going to get to do a follow-up attack versus that. So she's always going to get 3 extra tiles of movement, um, which helps compensate for her biggest overall weakness is in that she has the slowest movement speed and mobility out of like all the characters in the game. This is her biggest downside is that she's really hard to position and use correctly because she's so restrictive on her movement. If you are good about positioning her, you won't have to move a lot. But this fixed key at the, I'm sorry, common key at the very end here will help alleviate that problem. It'll essentially allow you to double move, and you got to be a little creative with it. I can't show. I'm not gonna be able to show you in this video because we're not at level 40 yet. But essentially, if you order your attacks correctly, you could move from your follow-up attack here from this insight, and then you can move again with your actual attack, your actual like attack movement. So you can actually go 7 tiles during your turn with this. So pretty handy. Um, but other than that, for the common keys, you're just going to want to focus on the traditional attack and crit defense. Right now, there's 2 from the event here, crit rate and attack boost. You can just get these from the store. You can just buy them, and these are just good stopgaps. This one is also from the event, but health boost is like she probably won't be getting hit much. So there's a couple common keys from other characters that are worth considering, but it's hard to really recommend these because re- leveling an entire character just for their common key, that's pretty luxury. But there's a couple, like for example, this key vulnerability exploit. Um, Once again, she applies defense debuffs with her skills or her other fixed key. So you'll be able to utilize that. This one here, opening fireworks, same thing. She gives herself buffs. Insight is a buff, so essentially this is just a permanent 7% damage increase with a 3% crit rate. But like I said, it's pretty hard to justify leveling a whole character or purchasing out an entire neural helix tree just for that one skill. So the last thing to talk about as far as the character itself is the weapon. The calibration rank for your ability and your weapon special ability doesn't matter. There's only like 2 snipers you can use in the game right now. Neither one of them are crazy good for her. Like it's this one's okay, right? The typical 4-star 50 cal Nemesis weapon is, it's just free damage. There doesn't change anything about how you would utilize her in a battle. Same thing with this one. This one's just like, hey, if it's the only target there, free damage. The one thing you should pay attention though is the trait. The trait from the sniper rifles that are in the game currently, it's the same for both of them. This one and for the Mosin Nagant. Essentially, it's going to allow her to ignore 2 points of stability. Uh, and we're going to show an example of how that actually matters here in a moment. But ignoring stability, it doesn't actually do extra stability damage to the target, but it just essentially does what it says. It acts as if the target has less stability than they have, which is good for cracking units in cover and doing like a ton of damage. So, uh, like I said, she can hit really hard because of her final fortification. If you do manage to get enough duplicates of her alt can crit almost all the time, which makes gearing her out relatively straightforward. You can actually focus on attack and crit damage over the traditional crit, but there's nothing wrong with traditional crit because having a high crit rate from weapon enhancements and keys is also beneficial to her remote observation, like her follow-up attacks. So let's take her into a couple battles here, and I'll kind of explain some of these as they're like being used in like real world situations. So let's do this one. I believe it was this mission here. We'll talk about gear at the end. There's not, like I said, not really a whole lot to talk about for that though. All right, so we're gonna move these around. Let me just check. I think I might just overkill these units like crazy. I'll have to switch out some gear, but this will still illustrate the point. So when the turn starts, you saw that little icon above this guy. He's the only one in range, and he's going to get hit with this Prophecy of Morning. Now, when any of these other characters attack with a single target attack, you'll see that she's going to do the foul. Well, Xiaomi's also going to do a foul, but it's going to die. But let's move Xiaomi over here real quick. So if I can click this, you'll see that you'll get the little marking line showing that Nemesis is going to do a follow-up attack. This is actually just going to obliterate this guy. Let's say I want to kill this guy in the back here. Well, I can't. I'm a little too short on range. All of her abilities don't reach. Now, if we have Colfane here trigger the Prophecy of Morning, you're going to get several buffs, one of which will be Insight. So, she cracks it. Nemesis kills it and gets a whole ton. So she got 2 Confectants. She gained the damage up and the attack up from her fixed key, which was last one, Silent Catastrophe. And so now she has a ton of extra attack and damage, and she got the Insight buff. Now with the Insight buff, you see, now all of a sudden we can hit this guy in the back. If you're using the fixed key that works on the first 2 skills, these first 2 skills will be able to hit. Otherwise, it'll just be the alt. But that is obviously very good for dealing with enemies that are like snipers or anything that's just like out of range of the rest of your team. Because what's going to happen is she's going to walk up here. We're going to have her just alt this guy just for no reason. This will be complete overkill. And then we're just going to move everybody else up and cover next to her. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, I'm way over leveled for these enemies, so this is just kind of to illustrate the point of using the Prophecy of Morning. Oh, so this guy moved exactly to the spot his friend just died in. So same thing. So now we have 2 targets marked because now there's 2 targets in range. Him and him. They both got the Prophecy of Morning debuff. Same thing. If we attack, you'll see the little follow-up attack line here showing that Prophecy of Morning will trigger. And that will enable us to hit this guy once again way in the back because she loses the stability every turn. Or I'm sorry, not the stability. She loses the Insight buff at the beginning of every turn. So you need to now trigger the Prophecy of Morning once again. Doesn't really matter. We can just do it like this. Actually, we'll get everybody in range so we can crack this guy. This is another thing that's important to notice. The way that these attacks trigger, Nemesis always tries to trigger her attack at the end. So that was kind of like a chain of support actions, right? Groza was, I moved Colfane over here and I didn't actually tag with her. Groza was the one that actually initiated the attack. Because of that, Colfane support attacked first, then Groza attacked, and then finally, because the target was also marked with Prophecy of Morning, Nemesis attacked at the end. The reason that's kind of important was because the first 2 attacks actually did enough damage or did enough stability damage so that when Nemesis attacked, it cracked the stability, caused the stability collapse, and caused the enemy to lose the 60% damage reduction from stability. That's why it's really good because of the order that the actions happen in. She's very likely to get a kill for Silent Catastrophe, and for that other fixed key that I don't have installed on her, the one that gives her one um, Confected's point every time you kill an enemy with Prophecy of Morning. So like little built-in synergy. And now that she's gotten the insight buff, once again, we can hit this guy in the back when earlier in the turn we couldn't. So we'll just do this one. Doesn't really matter who's going to die, except he's a little over leveled for this, but it's just to illustrate the example. Sure, come over here, Sammy. Can you hit anybody? No, you can't. All right, cool. And then once again, these guys will move up. They're both going to get... Well, we didn't trigger this Prophecy of Morning, so it's still on him. Because of her first fortification, it lasts for 2 turns. Nope, now we have the clapback team. So let's say, for example, there were 2 enemies right in front of Nemesis. The 2 closest enemies would get stuck with Prophecy of Morning, and then this rear enemy who had it from last turn would still have it. So you'd have 3 Prophecy of Mornings on the field. So you could trigger her, for example, this turn you could trigger her attack 3 times. We'll just go ahead. Can I? Yeah. So if I do a normal attack, it'll once again you'll see it. You'll see in this example, Groza will shoot. It will trigger both of these follow-up attacks, but the order it's going to happen in is Groza's going to initiate the attack, Colfane's going to shoot first, crack the stability to get rid of the damage reduction, then Groza will shoot, and then Nemesis will finish her off. Nope, never mind. Died too quick. But that's essentially what would have happened if Groza and Colfane hadn't crit him and killed him. Nemesis would have followed up. Okay, let's go and take a look at another mission. Oops, not this one. I believe it was 3-3. This mission is a little better to illustrate the point because there's so many enemies. In this map, this is what I was saying earlier about kind of her positioning. Her biggest weakness is that she's so slow. So if you were to try and go to this side, shoot these enemies, and then run over here, this wall is going to block you, and you're just not going to be able to do it. So one of the better things you can do is go either here or more likely here because she has such extreme range. Post up in one of these like locations. You'll start throwing Prophecy of Mornings every turn out on people, and you're just going to pick off enemies. Because you usually would want someone like Groza up in the closest to the enemy, because a lot of the enemies tend to attack the closest target. So we'd put Nemesis right here, and we'd just start attacking these. Right now, the 2 that got marked are these 2. They got marked with Prophecy of Morning, so if we attacked anybody over here with like Colfane or Groza, nothing would happen. But there is something I wanted to show specifically. So this guy here, if we go to hit him, you'll see he's gonna not take hardly any damage. He's gonna take a very, very small amount because he's gonna be getting 60% stability reduction and 30% damage reduction from cover. Because this ability only does 2 stability damage base, and then because I'm exploiting, you see the top here, it says exploited. Because I'm exploiting one of his weaknesses, in this case heavy weapons, he'll get another 2 stability damage every time you exploit one of these weaknesses. If you're unaware, you get bonus stability damage. But you'll see it's still not enough, right? It only brings him to 2 out of 6. Doesn't crack his stability. He's still going to get this 90% total damage reduction. Now, if we use an ability that does 1 more stability damage, something interesting happens here. He's going to die completely. He's going to get absolutely obliterated. He's not going to get the 60 stability damage. And that is because even though he is going from 6 to 1 stability, he is not stability broken. Nemesis's weapon, which I don't know if I can show it from here, but yes, here it is, right here. All sniper rifles, and by all I mean the 2 that are in the game right now, they ignore the stability. If she had inside up right now, which she doesn't because it's the very beginning of the turn, she'd ignore 2 points. But essentially, just by ignoring that 1 point of stability, even though he's not going to be stability broken, you're still going to ignore the damage reduction, the 60% damage reduction. So, like you can see, this does make a big difference. You know, you'll go from either killing him completely or like doing next to nothing. There's other ways around this too. So let's go ahead and we're going to get interesting. We're going to just kill this guy. So normally, like I said, you want to post up. I'm going to post up here because that's going to let me focus down these squad of 3, and then anybody who comes down the middle here. And then we'll worry about these guys later. So, so the reason I'm not attacking one of the 2 with the Prophecy of Morning is because we're going to have Xiaomi or Kolfing come up and trigger her attacks, and this whole side's probably going to get wiped real quick. So I'm targeting a 3rd guy in the back that's not marked. So this way, instead of getting 1 shot, we're going to actually get 3. So let's go ahead and... he's not going to quite die, but... Yep, so now we get another Prophecy of Morning attack. So now we've attacked twice in this turn, and she's gotten a bunch of Confectants. I forgot to mention, by using the second ability, because once again we were touching a piece of cover, she's going to get 2 Confectance points, which essentially now she's at the point where she's going to be ulting like crazy, like almost every turn. Once again, we'll just walk up. Same thing here. We're going to get a bunch of follow-up attacks. The ordering is going to be the same as I explained in the last mission. Xiaomi's going to follow up, or I guess preemptively attack with her support attack. And Kolfane, they're going to crack the stability. He'll have no stability left by the time Nemesis attacks, and he's going to absolutely just get demolished. So like I said, he had a 9% damage reduction versus that. Then he had 30 and 30. Because once that stability is broken, they lose the 60% damage reduction from it. So, and we're just gonna have Kingroza. Sure, we'll just do that for funsies. Doesn't really matter. But essentially, Nemesis got to attack 3 times in 1 turn, which is pretty good. Attacking 3 times is way more beneficial than attacking 1 time. We're going to speed this up. The counterattack team doing work. Alrighty, so once again, closest 2 enemies got marked with Prophecy of Morning. You can't trigger it with an AoE ability. I don't know if I have. This one is an AoE ability, but it'll just do damage to them. You won't see the little follow-up like arrows showing, so that's how you know that it isn't actually gonna trigger follow-up attacks. But for example, if Groza had enough Confectants again to use her alt, it wouldn't work. So, but it's the same thing. At this rate, you want to have character run up. Actually, we're just gonna speed this mission up a little by AoEing them. And those animations take a long time on speed 1. But same thing, double counter attack, or follow-up attack, I should say. Now Nemesis has the insight buff because she counterattacked something. It doesn't really matter right now. These enemies, I believe this guy was already in range, so. But essentially what you're going to want to do is dump some of her Confectants. We'll kill this guy real quick. He's going to get absolutely demolished. He's going to die before the ult even hits him. I should really change out some of the gear on these characters so they don't just absolutely stomp on everything. Oh, here we go. I can show it because of the... Now she has her ult. So even though this guy has a Prophecy of Morning, he doesn't... It won't trigger off of an AoE attack. This front guy here. So we can just kind of ignore that. We'll just go ahead and just kill this guy real quick. Um, Speed this up a little bit. I normally just exit out of this mission, but I want to show you on this elite enemy how you could trigger or how you can attack someone multiple times and kind of just like bring them to oblivion. So same thing. This guy here and this guy here. It's kind of weird. Or no, sorry, we have three because this one was from last turn. So this is a good example of what I was trying to say about how you can have so many Prophecy of Mornings floating around. Um, if we organize this turn correctly, can I hit this guy? I can, which means if I come here, I'm one range short. Ah, perfect example. So we don't want her to go first. We want her to get the insight buff before we move here. And then with the insight buff, we can move here, alt this guy in the back, and then continue to do follow-ups attacks. So what we're going to do is we'll have just Colfane shoot the stupid guy right here. And it died too quick. Is there one that I can actually shoot that will trigger it? No, they're all going to die too fast. Bad example, but maybe I can do this. I'm trying to illustrate a point here. All right, well, we can do this one. So, Prophecy will trigger. She can come alt this guy in the back. Now, he's not going to take a ton of damage because he has stability still, so a lot of this is going to get reduced. Did he get a mark? He did. Okay, so we have Prophecy of Morning on the Elite and on these two guys over here. So now, come on. Can we get in range? So we'll have... They're going to die again. Game, I'm trying to illustrate a point here, and you're making it very difficult for me. There you go. So if Colfane kills him, Nemesis follows up. You'll see she got 2 Confectus points from that, so now she can ult again. But we're gonna get even more Confectants. So once again, they attacked first, cracked the stability, so by the time that Nemesis did the follow-up attack, he was stability broken and didn't get the damage reduction. So now we can ult him, and he will take way more. And then finally, Groza can attack this guy over here. Get a 3rd kill. So essentially, we took Nemesis sitting in the back here, and we killed 3 enemies with her. 4, actually, that turn. Then whenever you get to single enemies like this, or you have like a boss, for example, you want to change things up slightly. You actually want you want Nemesis to attack first. And the reason for that is when an enemy has, thanks to Potent Curse here, this fixed key, when the enemy has the Prophecy of Morning mark on them, if Nemesis is the first one to attack, she's going to apply a big damage or defense down on them. And once again, enemies are too weak, but let me slow it down here. What's going to happen is she's going to attempt to attack, apply the defense down, attack the enemy. Everyone's going to do all their follow-up nonsense. If the boss was still alive, or the single target enemy, like whatever elite, was still alive, then when Groza attacked, for example, Nemesis would still do the follow-up attack. That's the point I'm trying to illustrate here, is that the key requires them to have Prophecy of Morning to do the defense down, but it doesn't use up the Prophecy of Morning. So we'll do it. Like I said, it's gonna die before I can show you, but pretend he didn't die there. Groza could then attack him, and Nemesis would do another follow-up attack. So I'm gonna try, and we'll do one more here. Let's try. Yeah, this guy's got a lot of HP, so we're gonna try this boss here. Hopefully, I can illustrate what I was trying to say. In boss battles, you're gonna want to operate slightly differently. Normally, like I said, Nemesis, you want to post her up, try and have your supports attack the people marked with Prophecy of Morning to kind of feed Nemesis buffs and confectants, and then just alt like crazy with Nemesis. During boss battles, it's a little different, but not much different. Like I said, the big difference is that Nemesis is going to want to attack the boss first to apply the damage down. Now, earlier I had mentioned that the first thing you want to do in a fight is open up with Enlightened Star. The two reasons for that: um, one, you're usually trying to get into position there, so you're going to be touching cover. You're going to be moving into a spot with cover, so you're going to get the extra confectants and the damage bonus, and so the damage difference is going to be pretty small. In this case, for example, it's well, assuming I didn't have her fortification, it would be 130% plus because you're in cover, another 20%, so that'll be 150 versus 170. Um, so we'll do this. The other reason is because usually in the first couple turns, especially boss enemies, they have a lot of stability, and you're not going to crack that stability in the first turn or two. So usually the first turn is setting up positions and then kind of whittling away at the stability. And then from there on out, you're going to want to start using your big attacks and applying big debuffs. So just walk her up, use Enlightened Star to generate yourself. You'll pretty much go to full confectants at that point, um, and get some of your buffs up. And then also just kind of chip away at the boss's stability. So applies the damage or the defense debuff before she attacks. These don't really matter. We have a Prophecy of Morning on this guy as well, so we're gonna have Colfank go and trigger that. She gets a bunch of buffs from scoring the kill, which is always nice. We'll just have Groza. We're just gonna have Groza use perfect cover so the boss doesn't just get instantly destroyed, and then we'll get rid of all that. Bonus tip: you can override surfaces like that. We'll speed through all these guys, slowly walking into position. The Clap Pack team, because we didn't utilize his Prophecy of Morning during our turn, it was still on him. That's why Nemesis took a shot there when Groza counterattacked. Okay, so once again, closest to the boss and this little spider, even though he's out of range, he gets the mark. So if for some reason you wanted to like move Nemesis, like I don't know, out here, so she could actually hit him, then you could take advantage of it. But this mission only requires us to attack the boss. So we did the first round. Now the second round, and maybe even the third round, usually Nemesis is posted up in hopefully a good position to fight the boss. And at this point, you might crack their stability. We already did it because, like I said, the counterattack team just went ham. Um, but if you're not running these exact units, right, the boss might have a little bit of stability left, in which case, same thing. You want to start the turn. Hopefully, this will be like cracking their stability. But you want to start. Oh my god, it's just gonna absolutely delete him. I gotta change weapons. Uh, you you'll be able to alt him, right, which will apply the defense down debuff again. Um, and then if it still lived, if the boss was still alive, then you could trigger the Prophecy of Morning a second time. So you get two attacks on the boss, but yeah, he just kind of got deleted. I mean, it kind of illustrates my point, right? She's really strong. But I'm also very overleveled for this. So that is essentially the quick way to use Nemesis. Um, using, it said none of those fights went long enough, but the part that I didn't mention was the reason you flip your abilities like that and you alt first before your team goes is that when your team attacks the boss, then it'll trigger her follow up again, and it'll give her two confectance points back. So in that turn that we just finished there, I started at 6. alted, went down to 3. Then, if the boss was still alive, if anyone attacked it, she would have done a follow-up attack because of prophecy. That would have given her 2, and she'd be back up to 5, which means the next turn, once again, alt again, same pattern. Now she's down to 4. Same pattern again for a third turn. Now she's down to 3. I mean, you can do that 4 turns in a row before she finally has to use another ability. Um, so that's what I was saying. You can kind of just alt spam. And if we come to the Neural Helix, if the boss was spawning ads, for example, she could just be alting an ad every time and getting all of her confections back, and then still using Prophecy of Morning on the boss. So she's very flexible like that. A lot of different ways you can tackle the problem. You can either position her so that the Prophecy of Morning will go on the ads, and you can just have your supports attack the ads, and Nemesis essentially kills them with the follow-up attack. Or you can like have Nemesis like totally target down the ads and completely destroy them, especially if the ads are kind of tough. Um, and then have her just supply damage to the boss for free through Prophecy of Morning. So the last thing to cover about Nemesis is gear. Once again, there's not very many sniper rifles to choose from in the game right now. There's the 4 stars, which are the 50 cal Nemesis, and then the Mosin Nagant 3-line rifle. Sorry, this one. Ignore this skin. Uh, there's not really a difference as far as like what they do. The obviously the Invocation of Ruin, which is like the special ability from this one, is a little more tailored towards Nemesis, but to be honest, just use whatever one you have, whatever the highest rank one is. If you can, if you're a Battle Pass member and you buy the Arcana here, same thing. They don't change anything about how she plays. All they do is just give you more damage, and more damage is good. They all have the same traits. So as far as that goes, there's nothing special there. The only thing other to talk about is attachments. We all know what the question is going to be. What set do you farm? The short answer to that is going to be Phase Strike. There's a couple you can use on her, but the short answer is just you can use the Phase Strike set. It's the most general overall set for a couple reasons for her. One, it works good, assuming you have someone who puts elemental debuffs or phase debuffs on the enemies, which, like I said, a lot of characters do. Xiaomi being the premium one right now. It's very easy to put elemental debuffs on targets. If you can do that with your team, assuming you're not, like I said, running a team that literally can't apply them at all, this will give her the most benefit because this affects all damage she does. And she kind of has a little bit of a split damage profile, right? Like her alt is corrosion, but her follow-up attacks are physical, and her enlightened star is physical as well. So it's kind of a split damage profile. So the nice thing about Phase Strike is it affects all of her damage. The other major benefit of Phase Strike is that it can be used for multiple characters. Um, let's say, for example, you get Mosin Nagant out of the standard pool of characters. She does electric damage. Um, Phase Strike works just as good on her as it does on Nemesis. So it's kind of like, quote, future proof. It allows you to be a little more efficient with how you farm. Other sets that are not bad choices are the physical set, which is called, where is it? Ballistics Boost. Ballistics Boost is not a bad set either. It's a little more niche. Um, Essentially, it's giving you 20% damage, but it's only on physical damage. So it'd only be her follow-up attacks and her first 2 skills here. Now, that's not bad because it allows you to score kills with her follow-up attacks easier. And it allows you to kind of spread the damage out a little more. Like, for example, the Prophecy of Morning targets are going to take more of the damage than um, than just having it all on the alt. Because the third set you could use is the corrosion damage set for 20% uh, corrosion damage. It, you will be spamming your alt a lot, assuming you play her correctly and you know are generating lots of confectants. The downside to it is that it's kind of only used on her, and it's really hard to advise people to farm a set that's literally only used on one character. So that's the long answer. The short answer is just use Phase Strike because it transfers to other characters, including future characters that are not released yet. And it affects both of her damage profiles. So that is pretty much a wrap. You can also get a few more stat boosts once again for maxing out her tree here and affinity, but that's true of all the units in the game. So we're gonna call that a wrap. If you guys have any questions or anything, I'll be happy to answer them. But really strong character. Do not sleep on her. Do not undervalue what she can do. She can just absolutely just stomp all over bosses, clean up ads. She's very versatile. Uh, just a good overall character. 5 out of 5. All right. With that, let's see. We're gonna do some of the dailies. That was the big long Nemesis spiel. I'll probably have to clip that and make that into its own specific video. I think a lot of people are sleeping on some of the starter characters. Another one I've seen people kind of just ignore is Groza. Groza is really good. She has so many different like usages. She's very versatile. She's just shreds defense too, stability. I mean, um, Colfane heals like crazy. She almost heals too much. I guess the reason people don't care about Colfane is because Xiaomi got released with the game, so it's understandable. Xiaomi and Colfane, you'd only need one of them. You don't need both. So let's see. We're gonna do some of this. I gotta dump a bunch of intelligence puzzles. Probably not gonna hit 38 today. Let me check here. No, I'd have to burn a bunch of keys to 38, so we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna go ahead and use up our 2 Sardis gold farms for the day. Once again, if anyone is unsure about doing this, you absolutely should do this 2 times a day. Yeah, you have a limit here, sync permission up at the top, 0 out of 2 because I just spent them. Absolutely, do these every day. You will run out of gold so fast. Uh, Specifically when you go to recalibrate gear, it is 20,000 gold for every recalibration. So for one weapon, that's 80,000 gold to recalibrate it one time, which is to get the bonus stats. So yeah, you burn through that pretty quick. And I have a feeling I'm going to need more of this in the future. Maybe not right this minute, but very soon. So we'll just dump some intel on that as well. What else do we got to do? Enter the dorm. Check. Oh, hi, Nemesis. It's like we just made a video about you. Targeted study, intel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right. Hi, Nemesis. Have some free gifts. Have some freebies. I think I needed to use 5, so. We're slowly leveling up the affinity with Nemesis just because these wonderful stat boost here. This one's actually, this tier is, it's not really good because it's not offensive, it's all defensive stats, but the next tier, we get a nice chunk of attack, and then at 5, yeah. This is really far away though. Like, to get characters to affinity 5, it's a lot of resources, so settle in for the long haul. But it is worth it because not only do they get a cool um, stat boost, you get to gamble, which everyone loves, but more importantly, you also get one of these common keys, which are pretty nice. So, and this one's not bad because it gives 3 stats as to the usual, as opposed to the usual 2 stats. The health boost is kind of like on a damage character. You're like whatever. Especially a damage character that's going to be really far in the back, not getting hit most of the time. But the attack and crit damage is good, especially the crit damage because although I say that, but I just realized something on her. Was that was 3% crit damage? Oh, these ones give 3% crit rate. That's a better. Usually in games like this, usually you get twice as much crit damage as crit rate for the same. Like the ratio is 2 to 1, just because of how the math comes out. So 3% crit in this game is more likely more valuable than 3% crit damage. Um, I'm assuming the reason her key has that is because with her last fortification, she essentially can have 100% crit rate all the time with her alt. So maybe that's what. But I still think it's I would rather take the crit rate over the crit damage personally. Okay, claim all these guys. Bunch more experience, not even close to leveling. That's okay. We got this too. Claim all this. I've talked about this before. The short answer for which one to pick is just pick whichever one you need. Otherwise, collapse pieces are relatively better. Even so, pick which one you need. I'll just go over it again. Pick which one you need because these ones are more efficient. Stock bars, transcriptors, and Sardis. They're more efficient, like compared to if you converted these collapse pieces to Intel and then spent that Intel to farm these exact same three items. The difference is you don't get experience points just by clicking these, right? If you were to convert the collapse pieces to Intel and then use that Intel to farm these, you are also getting commander experience, which levels up your account, which at some point will be irrelevant, but right now it's food for thought. But mostly if you just grab which one you need. I'm just gonna grab the collapse pieces because I'm pretty set on most resources right now, and I might as well just continue to stockpile for whatever character they announce next. I'm hoping UMP9. Um, we were gonna do some missions from this, I believe. Let's do this one on hard. What do we want to take? So these missions almost all require like a certain number of steps. So yeah, so this is mission what? Mission 5. So I got to do this in less than 50 steps. Um, on high risk, yeah, yeah. So this one is great because I'm not going to get to 55 steps, and if I do, I'm going to reset. And what other one? This one's fine. I don't know what they mean by HP must be expended on this level 2. I don't know if that means every time you move or when you leave the zone. So we're just going to take this one here, lose an extra 1% when you get items. Since we're going to like quote speedrun this, uh, we're not going to need that. We're going to take the double sniper team. I don't need the double healer team. That's a little unnecessary. Oh, look at that. First try. By the way, if you haven't done this yet, these are always the same. So if you go to do this, yours is going to be up here in the left too. These are not random. They always tend to be like in the corners, but like far away from you. So that's why I was a little surprised it was in that corner. And we'll just use up one of our ammos, so I don't have to battle that. Oh, there it is. I clicked a little too fast. We'll grab these. Why not? Okay, so we have, what do we say, 50 steps? So what, I got like 40 or 34 steps to find the boss in here. Usually the bosses on the last floor tend to be in the middle. Nope. Oh, I don't want to fight him. Okay, now that I got ammo, I can just auto-resolve it. Oh, there we go. So the boss was in the very opposite corner this time. It's the first time I've seen that. But we're well within the number of steps taken. Now, at this point, if you needed to, you could like search the rest of these rooms for extra supplies to like, get more buffs. But I'm just gonna guess because I overlevel. Yeah, oh yeah, he's weak to the types. Yeah, he's weak to the two biggest or the biggest damage dealer I have, and B, I outlevel him. So we're probably just gonna absolutely clap him. Yeah, this is good. We're gonna have Nemesis um, get up here on the first turn. Xiaomi's probably just going to hang out at the bottom, tank the boss, have Mosin come over here and start shooting some of these electric guys, and it'll all be good. To be honest, I don't know what this boss does because he kind of got destroyed so hard last time that I never really had a chance to read what he does. He essentially does a lot of AoEs and a lot of fire, but we're gonna Unga Bunga him, and I'm gonna speed this up because I'm no longer recording a tutorial. So Prophecy of Morning on these two guys. So I won't be able to be in cover. Like she's not gonna be able to make it to a piece of cover, so she won't get all the confectants from Enlightened Star. But she will get two follow-up attacks this turn because there's two marks with Prophecy of Morning, so she'll get four confectants total. So I can spend these three. Yeah, sure, why not? Oh, and I think I kind of lied. I forgot Somi had to cast the ability, so I don't think Rose is going to be able to. Yeah, whatever. This Skyfire guy, he's going to live. That's fine. We're going to change the order of this. We're going to have her go. Give herself the buff. Can she kill him? She cannot. So, yeah. Another chain attack team. So Mozen triggered the attack, which made Suomi do her support attack first. Then Mozen attacked, and then Nemesis did a follow up because there's a Prophecy of Morning on that target. And nope, still not enough, so we're going to have to use Crow's second ability here. So, yep, now he's going to start spamming AoEs. They're pretty weak, though. Groza actually took some damage there. Let's see if we can come to here. So, said another reason I think people are sleeping on Groza. She's out of stability right now, which would be bad. Like she's only getting the what is this 30%? I can't tell which one. I think this is the half boundary cover. She's only getting 30% damage reduction from the boss. Like if the boss was to attack her, but because of her fortifications, if she uses heavy suppression to crack this guy's stability, which will also get him killed because Mosen's going to follow up, she's going to get 4 stability back, and then she'll get that 60% damage reduction on top of the cover. So we killed the enemy, and she got her stability back. Pretty good, 2 for 1. Let's go ahead and move you around here, and then are we even going to be close? Yeah, we probably can just kill this guy. Can I kill him without using that? No. All right. So we're gonna move Xiaomi just down here to shoot up at this guy. Xiaomi's gonna take the next attack from the boss. The reason she's moving down here is because I want Nemesis to scoot over into that spot. Despite the fact that they're about to get AoE'd, it's not gonna hurt enough. So I'm gonna have her come down here, shoot this guy, which will trigger the follow-up attack. And just like that, Nemesis has enough to do her ult again. Oh my god, this is gonna just do so much damage to him. God forbid she crits. No, she didn't crit, but he would have been dead if she had. And I realized there that I was not listening to my own advice, and I did that order differently. But sometimes you gotta adapt. Can't be just following what other people say. Like for example, if I was following my own advice right now, I would alt first to put the debuff on him, the defense debuff. But she doesn't have enough confectants because I didn't utilize enough Prophecy of Mornings. So we'll just do this one instead. Not that it matters. He's gonna die. Just out of curiosity, yeah. She did the most damage by quite a bit. Not that that's surprising. I wish you could see a breakdown like you can in Project NeuroCloud of like what abilities were used to get this damage number. That's I don't know why they have it in that game and not this one, but it would be nice to see like how much of this came from her alt versus her Prophecy of Morning attacks. That's part of the reason why this is so high because she did multiple follow-ups in that fight. All right, well we absolutely crushed that round. Let's go to the next one. So I believe this one is another less than 50 steps. Yeah. Oh no, this one's just complete it. This one doesn't even matter. This is zone 6 for high risk, so you just got to complete it. But I don't want to waste too much time on it, so I will probably just speed through it. Okay, that's a weird way of saying it's going to heal 4% of your guys instead of 5% of your guys when you pick up a med kit. This one's another good one because, once again, we're not going to try and take that many steps, so... Hooray, I was right. Once again, in the corner. Oh man, dude, I am Minesweeper Pro right now. It's like I knew it was there, and I promise you I did not. And then the boss is usually in the middle somewhere. Oh my god, jeez. This is a... I think this is actually going to be a good boss to illustrate Nemesis. Um, this fight's kind of annoying, though, because there's big open areas, and like I said, Nemesis has horrible mobility. And the other issue is I brought Mosin, so they're both going to have horrible mobility. Both these snipers have 4 mobility, so we're just going to make it work, though. This is a kind of cool boss. So, for people who don't know how to do this boss, essentially, while he has his stability, he gets like an 80% damage reduction. So you just really can't hurt him as long as he's got his stability. And in addition to that, he's going to summon a bunch of ads. Um, then later on in the fight, like after a turn or two, he's going to try and eat the ads that he summoned. And that will regenerate his stability. So essentially, you're going to want to kill the ads. He's going to summon them. You're going to want to kill him so that he doesn't eat them and get a ton of stability back. And then you're just going to very slowly, quickly, depending on your team, whittle down his stability. And once he hits 0 stability, he can't recover it normally. And he's going to go into like a berserk state where he like starts doing different moves. But at that point, he loses his crazy damage reduction, and you can just kind of burst him down. Um, Oh yeah, also he also heals himself nonstop too. Another reason why you can't just try and like brute force him without cracking his stability. So we'll look for Prophecy of Morning targets, this guy and this guy. So if Nemesis comes either of these spots actually, we'll have her come here. So once again, I like to attack one of the targets that are not marked. So that way she can get the most amount of attacks per turn. Although the boss isn't going to die, so it's not like I'm going to run out of targets. But I did the same thing I did last time, and I forgot that I have to use Xiaomi's... Yeah, I got to use her alt so that everyone has a shield. So I'm not actually going to be able to hit this blade. Unless... Oh, never mind. I lied. Mosin can trigger it. Or Mosin will just kill him. Yeah, sure. Nope, never mind. It will trigger, which is good. I wanted it to trigger because she gets all the buffs then. She gets the attack up, the damage up, the insight, and the 2 confectants. So now she's like totally ready to go. If you come to her stats here, you'll see she's got a big old buff. And now when Groza goes to hit her, like I said, he's still not going to take any damage because he's not stability broken. But if this was a guy that didn't have 80% damage reduction, he would be having a real bad day right now. Okay, so there are the ads going in really weird movement patterns. Okay, prophecy is on these two. So if we have Xiaomi walk up and attack this guy, that's one prophecy. This once again, because you just killed the target with prophecy or attacked a target with prophecy, that gives you insight. So now we can reach this guy way over here. Let's go ahead and just delete him. I kind of brushed over it there. I forgot to mention for people who are relatively new, that guy got destroyed because he suffered a stability collapse. Because she attacked him with a skill that he was weak to, and it broke his stability, which means he lost any sort of damage reduction the before the attack landed. Let me see if I can illustrate that better. No, I have to finish this turn. Well, he's gonna probably. Ooh, he's gonna live. Do I want to alt him? That seems a little unnecessary. Let me see. Is the boss gonna eat him this turn? No. Okay, so we have a whole turn before the boss tries to eat one of these guys, so we're not gonna go too crazy. We'll just um. Can I hit him? Don't matter. We'll just hit him. Crack the stability? No. Once again, even though he's going to have one stability left, she's using a sniper rifle, so she's actually ignoring it, which is why she's doing all that crazy extra damage. If we walk here, can she just kind of... Yes, she can. All right, all the ads are clear. We're chipping away his stability through all these crazy follow-up attacks. This is a pretty clear attack. Don't stand in the bad. Yeah, he's trying to eat his guys now. So absorb, reinforce frontal hunters. So we do need to kill this last one this turn. Groza is just gonna walk over here. Yeah. So I'm just checking here to see if we're going to come close to breaking his stability this turn. I don't think so. I think we're going to be a little short. Even if Nemesis... let's try it. This is the turn the shield runs out as well. So I'm going to have everyone act before Xiaomi acts so that all the shields expire. And she can essentially put a brand new fresh one on. Man, this feels bad to do this. Wait, actually... Ah, still feels bad. Damn. I was hoping that would kill him so I didn't have to waste an attack, but... Oh well, it is what it is. Just put that right there. Don't really matter. Yep, he would have eaten any if any of his little friends were still alive. All right, so now he's gonna get his stability broken, and then we're just gonna pile damage on. These guys are being a little obnoxious, though. Let me just check. How much is he gonna take? All right, well, we won't be able to just kill him in one turn. It'll take a couple turns, so let's see here. Yep, so he's not going to eat any ads this turn, so we can do kind of what we did last time. Um, we're going to have Nemesis attack the boss here to apply the damage down, or the defense down. Oh, and it's going to spawn more ads. Oh boy. I forgot about that. And now we have to go on major ad cleanup. Oh boy. Groza is not going to have a good time. Mega cleanup here. The other reason I wanted to alt first was to empty her confectants so that she can get a bunch back when I attack all these other targets. Hmm. So I'm just going to hope Groza can live through all that nonsense there. This guy doesn't have a Prophecy of Morning stack, so maybe we try to... Not really. All right, maybe we just go all in on damage on him with the snipers, and then hopefully just clean up all the ads with is that a big damage difference? Not really. And now how gross are going to get out of this? I think we're going to try and run to one of the sides and escape, but I don't know if that's going to work too well. She has no stability either, so she's going to start taking a ton of damage here. We can get a little bit back with perfect shelter, or she can like crack somebody once again with this ability with using heavy suppression to get some back. She's going to be in a bad spot no matter what, though, because these two are just going to walk around and just... The 5 stability is not going to last the whole turn, I don't think. So, can I trigger... not really. Can kind of trigger... We're going to walk over here. We're going to shoot this guy for 2 reasons. One, it's going to trigger Mosin to do a follow-up, which will do a little extra damage to him, but mostly it'll do a movement down. Heavy suppression does a movement down debuff. So maybe we'll get lucky and he won't be close enough to hit Groza. Ow. Okay. Well, it's clear we triggered the extra set of ads at a bad time. Because now Groma got knocked back in a bad direction, too. Oh, boy. All right, well, I think we just go all in on the boss and see if we can kill him. Oh, no. Can she not see? She can't. She's going to have to move to here. All right, who's got the prophecy on them? Ew, gross. This guy got it? Hmm. Yeah, I think Rose is just going to be... Sorry. It's a bad day for her. All right, we're going to try and dump damage on the boss while keeping ourselves alive on this side of the arena. So if we can maybe... Now I want to be able to shoot the monster. Yeah, as I said, staying out in the open, bad idea normally, but we're just trying to dump as much damage as possible, and that's where she needs to be to have vision. Yeah, I'm hoping... Can she... No, she can't. Also, I probably should have moved Sumi first to get follow-up attacks and all that, but that's okay. You know what I can do? I can move her here. Throw a shield on Mosin. Um, this will keep Mosin alive. And then maybe just give me another turn. Because we're just essentially trying to buy time for Nemesis to kill the boss. Oh, you get this bug where sometimes the camera gets stuck. If you just click and hold and just wiggle your mouse back and forth while clicking and like dragging. So I'm just like clicking and dragging and clicking and dragging. And you'll see the camera's moving like a pixel at a time. Eventually it'll get to the character it's trying to hover over and it'll go back to normal. Yep, there it goes. So we all acted. It's a shame that she couldn't alt this turn. And it's even more of a shame that Groza is gonna, take one for the team. big sad. Oh no, my cover. It's okay. Like I said, we'll have enough damage to kill him this turn. That got a little spicy, but mostly it was because I was dumb and I forgot that he summons even more ads when he goes into that stability break phase. You kind of don't want to time it like I did. In a perfect world, you would have killed all the ads, and then after you killed all the ads, you would have pushed him into the next phase by breaking his stability. I got a little too ahead of myself. I tried to make it a DPS race and made it a lot harder. Okay, this one's not unlocked. Oh, I have to do normal mode first. I haven't done that boss on normal mode. And that's the only thing I have left to do for this. So let's go ahead and try this one. I haven't done this boss yet, obviously, so we're going to find out together what he does. Sure. Yeah, we'll do that one. I'm tempted to bring the double sustain team just because it's not as bad as it sounds, because Nemesis is doing most of the damage anyway, and it gives me the buffer. But actually, no, this is normal mode. This is not a hard mode one, so we probably don't need it. Where is it? Are they pranking me? Was it right next to the front door? No, it's one behind one of these boss or these encounters. Ew, gross. Yep, there it is. I'm just gonna check real quick. I don't think this mission requires a number of steps taken. Oh, it does. Okay, well, it's like what? It was right there. Okay, we're just gonna reset. No, I said that one. And then if I had to guess, the boss is over here somewhere. Oh, give me ammo so I can auto resolve that. Oh my god. There we go. There he is. Okay, let's find out what Mr. Ironside here does. Oh, he's like a little mech boy. He is interesting looking. He's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mixed with I don't know what the hell that's got going on there. All right, well, let's find out what he does. So, I know this is the bane of everyone's existence is reading what the boss's skills are. So he has a basic attack with his War Scythe. Essentially, one's a ranged, one's a melee, and does some stability. Okay. Does a shield to himself. If the shield doesn't break, he uses this malicious outburst, which I'm assuming is one of his other abilities. Yes, it is. So if you don't break his shield, he's gonna do like a map wide AOE. It looks like that ignores cover, and they move. They're forced movement. Oh wow. So okay. So you break his shield. That's the short takeaway from this. Does it say what this does? No, it doesn't. It just says yeah, it's a debuff, and it can't be cleansed. Okay, maybe one of these other ones. So this is a line. Ignores cover, so he does a lot of ignoring cover stuff. Okay, so you can share this damage. That's rather interesting. I still don't think you'd want to. I think you just like move out of it, but yeah, just move out of it. I don't know why you'd want to share it. Okay, he gets his. Yep, okay, so he just gets his stability back after one turn. He actually seems really straightforward. He does not. Can I get up to this? No, this is not something you can stand on. We're going to have Nemesis on the right. We'll have. Yeah, she can kind of hang out in this area. And we'll just have. Yeah, Groza right there. Oop. Sure. This guy seems really straightforward. Seems like crack his shield. And, yeah, that's kind of it. Stay away from his AoEs. Let's go ahead and move Nemesis up first. Oh my god, he's. Normal mode bosses are. Can she get into a spot where she can be in cover but hit him? Yes. I want for the follow-up attack. Or her support attack, I should say. It's technically not a follow-up. It's a, like, a preemptive strike, but. So move Nemesis up. Use your second ability. This guy's just. Ouch. Gives her a bunch of confectants and her buffs, or sorry, and applies the damage down buff. Groza, I guess you just stand here. I mean, this he's gonna die in one round. I'm not even gonna need to like. Okay. Well, that's normal mode for you. Okay, maybe we'll do this on hard mode and see if he actually has mechanics. Okay. Where's. All right, we'll do this one because once again, we don't want to take a lot of steps in the first place. And then we'll take that one because we're probably not going to be searching for a lot of items. I want to take the same team. I'm gonna take the super baby mode like protection team, just so that maybe, just maybe, the boss will live, so we can see what he does, and then also I'll have like lots of healing so that I can just kind of like drag the fight out to just kind of see what they're cooking up. What kind of interesting boss fights do we have to look forward to in the future? I know I shouldn't be grabbing these med kits in the order I'm doing it, but like I said, this is not that serious. Where to key? Oh no. Is this going to be a reset? Oh, it probably is. I'm clicking literally every wrong one. Right. I think I need to do it in 4 steps now. We're going to try it. Ooh, I'm taking a lot of damage too for exploring all that. All right. I think the boss is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No! All right, let's find out where he actually is so that I can. Oh my god, I was one off. Ah! Let me just check real quick, make sure that it's 45 and not 50. Oh, we got lucky. It's 50, so I can fight it because we're at 48. Okay, we're gonna try the baby mode team. Oh, he comes with friends this time. We will put Nemesis over here, and we'll have just the. Okay, like I said, this is the super support, like you'll never die team. Um, The problem is that that's not really a thing in this game because A, none of the fights are incredibly difficult, and B, most of this, the quote hard stuff is actually like a DPS check, so it's not really like a can you survive this check, at least not from what I've seen. Can I hit? Is there a second prophecy of morning? Ooh, none of them got marked with it. They were all too far. Yeah, he would have been the closest, and he would have been the second closest. Yeah, so she was too far because the prophecy. If we look at this, I think it's 9 squares. Yeah, one, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so they're just a little too far. That's fine. We'll just walk up. Start with the good old number 2 ability there to get some confectants. Can I probably want to. How far do these guys go? Are they going to surround her? No, they won't. Okay, so they got to go all the way around. So we'll just walk up to here, and we'll just barrage these two so that they have movement down. And he gets around the cover. And then Colfane is going to use her ability. Oh, no. I got to move over here if I want to do it. Okay, mistakes into miracles. The reason I wanted to do this ability is because right now I have her fortification, or is it a fixed key? I don't remember. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a fixed key, emergency express here. So this is going to heal both Xiaomi, Groza, and herself, and then she'll toss a heal over here to Nemesis. So the whole team's essentially going to go to full HP because it heals everyone within an AoE around her, and then she heals whoever's the lowest after that. So that's what I was saying. This team is like super condom mode, like you'll never die. So this guy just spams that. Interesting. Was that? Are these new abilities or are these the same ones? No, these are the same. So he's going to try and War Scythe or Cannon after he moves. Oh, I see. Okay, so he couldn't actually make it to anybody to War Scythe and Cannon because he had movement down, right? So he had movement down here and frozen. So what was his movement? One tile, yeah. So he couldn't actually get close enough to attack anybody with his abilities. So he's just like, fuck it, we ball, and he's just malicious outburst a bunch of times instead. Actually, kind of funny. He just like baby raged because he couldn't he couldn't go anywhere. Let's see. We got I think prophecy on these two guys. Yeah. All right. Ooh, and they're gonna summon a bomb here. I could kill that. We'll do this. We will have. That's not what I intended to do, but that works as well. This is really what I was trying to do. Yep. Trigger Nemesis's follow up, and we're gonna use her ability because she's gonna follow up again on. Oh, I lied. She's not. So she only gets this one ability this turn. So we're actually gonna move her here. Oh my god, she just does so much damage. This is partially because of her gear. I have a lot of gear on her. I mean, we're doing so much damage. I don't even need to really like use strategy. So we're just gonna stand out. Like I said, this is not a good idea. Do not recommend. Do I want to heal her stability back? No, we'll just finish these guys off. Sometimes offense is better than defense, especially since he's gonna do his baby rage here. Yep, and he's just gonna knock everyone around and break their stability anyway. Wow, he's just gonna do that a lot, isn't he? That was kind of annoying. He did a lot of damage. He cracked her shield and shoved her all the way over here. How far can this guy go? And he blows up in a 3x3. I also don't like that he ruined all the cover in the area. All right, so Prophecy of Morning. So if she just comes over here, really, we're not gonna have enough. What about Groza? Is Groza enough? Yeah, okay. Let's just check here. Yeah, okay. We will move to here. Wait, I can't do this yet. I'm just kind of planning out my move. So we're gonna have Kulfang come here. I want Xiaomi. Do I have to be over this barrier? Yeah, this is a dangerous spot too. So we can have Xiaomi here. I wonder if that was enough too. Yeah, it was. Okay, so now she can come here. Yep, so she's not capped on confectants, so that's fine. This will get her enough to be able to alt. Well, alt for more damage, I should say, and heal up. Um, then we're going to alt to put the oh my god, so much. We're gonna alt so that once again he gets the defense down buff. And just kill him. But essentially, Groza would have walked up then, shot him, which would have done Nemesis' second attack from Prophecy on him. So this is what I was saying earlier. Like she can really just kind of get out of control early game. I'm sure later on, when everyone's like max level and we have like really hard difficult content, maybe she might have some problems. But like for all the stuff that's currently released and all the stuff that will be out in the near future, she can carry you for months. I would say it's going to be safe to say like a good 6 months, and you can still easily just use her as your primary DPS character. And that's not just because I'm biased and I really like her. So it's because I'm biased and I really like her. Okay. Well, we got a lot done today. I don't really have anything else I want to do. I'm gonna do the rest of the event on my own. It just opened up yesterday. I didn't have a chance to yesterday because I was busy with real life stuff. Lame, I know, right? But I'm gonna go through the second half of the campaign here. I'll do that off stream because these watching these cutscenes take a long time, and I actually do like the story, so I'm gonna read them. Um, I like the first half story. I'm interested to see what the second half story is about. And I don't feel like doing these right now. Ooh, this one might be kind of tough. Level 42. Might have to level up a little bit before we get to that. But that's all we got for today. I feel like I'm forgetting to do something. Once again, if anyone wants to friend me, this is my UID here. Also, UIDs for the other games in case you still play either of those for some reason. I do, kind of. GFL, I kind of just show up and do my dailies. And somebody used my supports. Congratulations, me. Someone is finally respecting the power of the Nemesis. They probably use my Xiaomi. Um, yeah, I don't really have anything else I wanted to go over or talk about. I have been slowly compiling a list of questions I've seen asked a billion times in the like the help section of the Discord. Uh, Usually people answer them, so I'm not going to repeat them here. But some of them are worth like diving a little more into. They're hard to summarize in a one-word answer. The big one you see spammed a lot is, what item set do I farm? And while everyone kind of has the correct answer of like Phase Strike, it's a little more nuanced than that. But I'm still trying to get like I think I might do like a full video on that one because that one's a little. They're correct to say Phase Strike because it's the most versatile and it's just kind of like the best all rounder. But there are other good all rounder sets as well. Um, The big caveat to Face Strike is that you need someone who can apply one of the elemental debuffs, which almost everybody has access to a character that can do that, right? Let me see here. It's my refitting. I mean, if you rolled Xiaomi, she just her passive just drops them all over the place, right? Like every time you use anything, she just puts avalanche stacks on people, and this one counts for face strike. So this is like the big easy one. So if you got Xiaomi, then you're just face strike all day. Don't think about it. And also when she ults, she puts a bunch of avalanche stacks on everybody that gets hit. So and you've seen how big that alt is. So if you have Xiaomi, just get face strike. Don't think about it. But a lot of the other characters can apply elemental debuffs in one way, shape, or form. Like, for example, Cheetah is one of the characters you get from just like playing the game, thanks to the pre-registration rewards. It's oops, not spicy candy. It's this one. Um, if she hits only one target, aka a boss, she can put this on them. This is considered a burn debuff, so this will activate Face Strike. So that right there is something that everyone has access to. And then everybody, there's lots of other characters. Like she applies it with her second. She puts Overburn on them. Um, Lotta puts Cold Snap on people. Nagant puts Acid Corrosion. Not to be confused with Vulnerability 1. This one is not an elemental debuff. But her Acid Corrosion is. It says right there, Corrosion defense debuff. So this one will proc it. Um, Karalik just AoEs it out with her Embers. Now, the caveat is then you have to bring Karalik on the team, which, once again, I'm a big fan of Karalik. I like her. I just I can understand why people don't want to use her. She's kind of hard to use. She's not like a set it and forget it. She has some nuances that make her like a lot of thinking involved in using her correctly. But she can put the debuff out if nothing else. So once again, makes it really easy to farm for snipers because if you farm phase strike, you're farming rifles and blades at the same time in that same one. So you can easily get a pretty stacked set of phase strike stuff for your sword. If you're using Karlik. Mosin puts electricity debuff with her second ability here, and in fact, I think even this one. So this shock, this only happens one out of every 3 turns, but I think no, this just converts it to electric damage. So yeah, you still have to use the second one here to apply conductivity, or paralysis, which then enable phase strike, but she just doesn't automatically do it. But anyway, the point is there's a lot of options out there, and you can experiment. So phase strike is just like an all rounder like good set to use. The second closest one is Ballistic Boost, which is 20% physical damage. The reason why that one's a close second is because okay, almost every character has follow-up attacks of some kind or support attacks. Um, just like a couple exceptions, like Tololo doesn't have any, and I think I'm having a mind blank, but there's a couple of characters that don't have uh, like support attacks, and every support attack in the game, at least the ones that I'm aware of, all do physical damage, right? Even someone like Mosin's physical, Rosa's pure physical, even Xiaomi, that's what I was thinking of. Um, Prior to using axe support, dealing physical damage equal to 80%. So like, even though she's clearly like ice character, even she gets a decent amount of physical attacks in there because she does a lot of follow up attacks or support attacks. I keep calling them follow up, but that's like not exactly accurate because yeah, like hers hits first. So um, yeah, I think that's everything for today. I think I'm gonna end the stream. I don't really have anything else I want to chat about. So yeah, look forward to it. I think later in the week we're gonna have more streams. Friday night we're gonna have Friday night frontline, and hopefully I'll have something to go over. Hopefully I'll do another guide on something. Then I'm not sure exactly what. Maybe I'll have everything ready to get the in-depth guide on the attachments because there's a little more to go over, especially when you start calibrating things. It gets a little complicated, and I'm not even 100% sure on all the calibrating stuff yet, which is why I have to do a little research because I need to double check some facts as far as like how high they can get calibrated. So, um, yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. We'll catch you later.